From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, this is Hannah Mordeau, and this is your News 8 Daily for Monday, December 22nd. We're headed into Christmas week, but it's not going to feel much like it. We're going to start to warm up a little bit. High today will be about 39 degrees, so not incredibly warm, but when it comes to precipitation, might have a few showers tonight. Mostly cloudy today. Breaking overnight, a woman is in critical condition after an assault on the far east side of Indianapolis. Police were called just before 2 this morning to the English Village Apartments at English Avenue in South Michener, just west of 465. IMPD says a child ran to another person's house to say someone had attacked their mother. Police initially called this a shooting, but officers on scene would only say the woman was suffering from trauma, and they are not saying what type of weapon may have been used.
I'm not going to release that information right now. I just can tell you that she is suffering from trauma, is how we'll describe it, and she's in critical condition. The child was unharmed, no one else injured.
Police have also not released any information about a possible suspect or what may have led to the attack. New on Daybreak, IMPD is asking for your help finding a woman with autism who is missing. You can see her picture on wishtv.com right now. Police say 31-year-old Christina Potts was last seen at around 7:30 last night walking out of Community East Hospital. Police say she has autism and a traumatic brain injury. She's 5'4", 250 pounds, and has brown hair and brown eyes. She was last seen wearing a navy blue hoodie, black pants, and gray shoes. If you think you may have seen her, police say you should call 911 immediately. An Indiana National Guard member from Fishers says his wife is trying to legally immigrate to the United States and is stuck overseas. Now he's looking for help to get her to Indiana before their baby is born. He spoke to News 8's Jaden Reeves.
Walter Moyo says he has followed every legal step to bring his wife to Indiana. They married 5 months ago overseas, but new federal restrictions stopped the process to bring her into the U.S., leaving his pregnant wife stranded.
It's emotionally challenging to know that I will not be permitted, basically, to be there for the birth of my child.
Walter Moyo says he and his wife have spent months working through the legal immigration process, a process stalled now that his wife's home country in Southern Africa is on the U.S. visa restricted list. A ban on 39 African countries was put into place on December 16th.
Her country got added to the list because of overstays by other students, former students that came from that country. So it's not necessarily a violent country. And this is according to the proclamation itself.
Moyo asked we withhold his wife's name and country of origin to avoid interfering with the immigration process. But with this couple expecting a child soon, his biggest worry is his wife and the baby's health.
I mean, she's had some health problems in the first trimester problems, high blood pressures and different things. It's one of the African countries, so the health care there is not very good.
While their family remains separated, Moyo continues to work full-time as a nurse and serve in the Indiana National Guard.
I'm very proud when I wear my uniform, but I wish I would just kindly ask the Department of Homeland Security if they had a way of providing special exemptions for the bans for families of U.S. service members.
His wife is due in just a few months. Moyo isn't sure if he'll be there for the birth of his first child or when he can bring his family home.
She's out there, she's alone, so it's taken a toll on me mentally and emotionally.
I reached out to federal immigration officials and the Indiana National Guard for comment and have not yet heard back. Live in the studio, I'm Jaden Reeves for Wish TV and wishtv.com.
Local leaders are standing with Jewish people in Indiana against hate. The Jewish Federation of Greater Indianapolis invited elected officials to celebrate the final night of Hanukkah at a community menorah lighting last night. Organizers say it shows that love and unity shine brighter than hate, especially after recent anti-Semitic violence. A week ago, a mass shooting in Australia during a Hanukkah celebration left 15 people dead. State lawmakers and local representatives of different faiths joined in solidarity at the Jewish Community Center in Indianapolis.
It's uniquely Hoosier. We always come together in good times and bad times, and certainly in bad times. I believe that we run towards the fire when our friends and neighbors are in need, and that's why I think you see the crowd here tonight. You see folks of all faiths, of all backgrounds.
The Jewish Federation says that the support is impactful in light of the recent attack. The University of Notre Dame says it will use a $50 million grant from Lilly to develop faith-based approaches to ethnically use artificial intelligence. Money will support the Delta Network. That's Notre Dame's new initiative to create an ethical framework using AI. School says it will launch programs to target young adults, establish community hubs, and lobby tech leaders in the AI field. Governor Braun is defending the property tax cuts he pushed through this year, even though they are costing state and local governments millions of dollars. Tax Talk was part of a wide-ranging interview with News 8 government reporter Garrett Bergquist on this week's edition of All Indiana Politics.
The new property tax law does allow local governments to raise local income tax rates. Some of the governor's critics say that offsets any gains for taxpayers. In a sit-down interview in his office, Braun tells me that overlooks the overall goal of the new property tax law.
I think that dismisses the other part of how you run your governments more efficiently. I can see it in our own state government. We were asked to reduce by 5% because the budget forecast requested it. It was kind of a faulty budget forecast, in my opinion, but we're already exceeding on the cash flow end of it. Governments need to look at doing the same thing. The default can't be just raising taxes without looking at how you run things more efficiently. So I think some local governments, especially school districts, seem to be more confident on living within the current paradigm.
What further action can we expect on property taxes this session, if anything?
So you're going to have some that think it needs to be watered down because they think it's been too austere on local governments, somewhat school districts. If they do that, I think you're going to be out of sync, because I think they were out of sync again in the Senate with property tax reform that we had to spend 3 months on getting to where it was. So I would hope that they're looking at more ways to actually help the property taxpayer and buy into running government more leanly, and then looking at other sources of revenue. You got to make sure local governments and school districts are healthy. We all agree on that. They just can't grow faster than the economy can support it. The taxpayer can afford it. And then, yes, if you want to do more, do a referendum. Be honest with your own taxpayers that you're trying to get them to buy into paying more. And I think we've set the stage in being more interactive. If you want to do more locally, make the case for it.
Remember, you can see in-depth interviews just like that one every Sunday on All Indiana Politics. It airs at 9:30 in the morning only here on Wish TV. And if you want to hear my full unedited interview with the governor, check out the All Indiana Politics podcast. You can find it under the podcast tab on our website, wishtv.com. I'm Garrett Bergquist for Wish TV and wishtv.com.
In Colts watch, Phillip Rivers' NFL return hits prime time tonight in a matchup at home against the San Francisco 49ers. This is the 44-year-old quarterback's second game back with the team. After last week, Rivers was asked if he still feels like he has the same arm strength he had after not playing in 5 years.
I don't feel any really limitations pushing the ball down the field. Am I going to throw it 60 yards? No, but I can't name many times I ever did that anyway. I don't think that there's like, oh, we can't call this or we can't call that.
Rivers threw for 120 and 1 touchdown for the Colts in his return in action last week. Quarterback Anthony Richardson is still out with an eye injury, but he did do a limited practice this week. Game comes as the Colts are clinging to their playoff hopes. Team is currently third in place with the AFC South behind the Texans and the Jaguars, who both won yesterday. NFL says the Colts have just a 5% chance to make the playoffs. With a win tonight, that climbs to 11%. Colts kick off against the 49ers tonight at 8:15. Doctors are warning about a rising number of flu cases and a new flu variant spreading in some cities as people start to gather for the holidays. CDC says at least 1,900 people in the U.S. have died from flu this season. Health experts say the best defense is a flu shot, but some doctors are worrying about this new flu mutation that's starting to show up.
We think that this clade K virus is evading population immunity, meaning more people are susceptible to infection. It has mutations that may allow it to evade some, but not all of the influenza vaccine-induced protection.
Doctors are encouraging everyone, but especially children, people over 65, and those with underlying medical conditions to go get a flu shot as soon as possible. With Christmas this week, millions of Americans are expected to be traveling. John Lawrence reports on the record numbers of people expected to hit the road and skies this week.
The year 2025 is ending on a historic note. AAA estimates a record-setting 122.4 million Americans will travel at least 50 miles from home.
You've got this 2-week period when people are coming and going during different times.
AAA says nearly 110 million will drive, just over 8 million will fly, and close to 5 million will take other forms of travel like buses or trains. For those getting behind the wheel this holiday season, a basic rule of thumb: the sooner you leave, the better.
Early mornings are the best. Those are the times that you're going to have the lighter traffic. Also, you don't have the buildup and more opportunities for there to be crashes or construction later in the day.
If you're heading to the airport, be proactive before pulling up to the front doors.
Do everything you can before you get to the airport. Reserve that parking. Check into that flight. Prepay for checked baggage. It's really going to save you time and heartache when you get there.
And as for those procrastinators who may still be looking for a last-minute bargain on a plane ticket,
there's always weird things going on with airfare. So you can probably find a cheap deal to fly. But is there value in that flight? Is the layover 3 times longer than it normally would be? Is it going to take you 3 times longer to get to your destination?
I'm John Lawrence for Wish TV and WishTV.com.
This has been your News 8 Daily from Wish TV. I'm Hannah Mordell. Watch us on Wish TV and WishTV.com.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update on demand. For even more, on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at WishTV.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening. And be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.